Oh, good, Sally.
Yeah, I know. The thing up. She's changing the battery.
Now live.
I'm gonna go run and get her water real quick. Sally just walked in. She said, I'm gonna get her water and then we can get started.
Perfect.
There's some in the break room still.
Yes, in the fridge.
Chief, do you have a brother in Orwell?
I do. I think that's the third time she's back. No.
I met a guy who likes to dance. That's
Chief's pretty light on his feet. Fights bears with his bare hands. Found that out today.
We're all good, I hope. All great. I worry all the time.
How was the Derby? Good. I bet it was.
Are we on, Mark?
You are live.
Thank you.
And we have an ad blocker.
Here, you can have my copy.
No worries. If you need one. All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. If we could stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, can you do roll call, please?
I can.
Thank you.
Bob Cook. Sally Fell.
Here.
Stephen Kaufman.
Here.
Ed Kojal. Holly Marinick.
here.
Gary Main.
Here.
All right.
Very good. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? None? Next, we have review and approval of the minutes for the previous meeting, July 1, work session and council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? We're voting to approve the minutes from July 1st work session and council meeting.
Bob Cook. Sally Fell.
Yes.
Steve Kaufman.
Yes.
Ed Kojal. Holly Marinick.
Yes.
Gary Main.
Yes.
Very good.
Hey, Mark, you don't need to read those absences. They didn't roll call if you don't want to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Very good.
Who made the motion and the second real quick for that?
Stephen made the motion and Gary seconded.
Thank you.
And the minutes from July 1st work session and July 1st council meeting have been accepted. Visitor comments? None. Administrative staff reports, mayor report, I do not have one. Treasurer is not here this evening. Did she leave a report for us?
She did not.
She usually does at the first meeting of the month, right? No, it's the second,
No.
right?
It's one of the two.
It's one of the two, but we do not have one. Administrators report.
All right. Submitted in your guys' packets. I've sent you guys some updated emails on what's going on with the ODNR with the dam. So some good news moving forward there. Reaching out, we'll be trying to get our engineer in soon to start that analysis and hopefully planning our controlled burn as soon as possible with Morgan and Rome. They've been out to evaluate the vegetation at the bottom and the sides of the dam. Any questions pending my report, I will look for right now.
Does it have to be controlled burn? Can the vegetation be removed in another way?
It does not have to be a controlled burn, but due to the extreme overgrowth, it is definitely highly recommended. And plus, we will need to hire a tree service company to come in and do the sides of the dam because they're too steep. So the controlled burn is just the starting process to being able to go down and clear out the larger trees because they won't be able to be burned down.
So the larger trees are gonna have to be cut,
Correct.
removed, stumped. Will they need to be stumped also?
I'm not sure of that.
Police chief report.
I'll submit it to council in
Solicitor report. Committee reports, finance committee,
No new report.
public works committee,
Next meeting, August.
August,
Just all, the whole meeting, the whole month.
The regular scheduled time in
The
August.
first Friday in August.
Hang on one second.
sorry.
That's all right. I just didn't write them down this round.
Okay,
August 1st.
thank you.
No problem.
Special committee liaison reports, the planning commission.
Planning Commission did not meet this last month, but we will be meeting in August.
Thank you. Records commission did not meet. Strategic planning committee.
We sent out the survey. We had some very nice response so far. I encourage all of you who have not filled out the survey to do so. Also, I sent 2 emails to council asking for response. I only received response from 1. So this is last call. It's really important that we get input from this council regarding our strategic challenges as well as opportunities for the future.
When does the survey end for the community?
Depending on what we get back this week, we will either run it 1 more week. So at the most, it'll be up to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But if we have a good response in maybe 2 weeks, then we'll.
All right, very good, thank you.
Excuse me, Mark, is it 5 or 5:30 or 6 for the first?
5 o'clock.
RRA,
Yes, we, as everyone knows, we lowered the rate this week. And they did the application successfully. And it was done today on the north side. And it's, hopefully will solve the, slight flare up in blue-green algae.
Ed's not here tonight. Okay, we'll go on to legislation, ordinance 2025-03, I'm sorry, -07-03, an ordinance approving the updated 2025 codified ordinances of the Village of Roman Shores, Ohio, provided by Minicode via Civic Plus and not declaring an emergency. It's in its first reading. Next is resolution 2025-07-04R, a resolution approving the renewal agreement and quote with insurance specialist groups doing business as Love Insurance as provider for the Village of Roman Shores employee insurance policy effective date of September 1, 2025, and declaring an emergency. It's in its first reading.
So council's aware that particular resolution, it's a 1-year term. We renew it every year. It should be a resolution. Because of the timing, we should declare an emergency at the time we pass it. That way we don't have any lapse in coverage. So the resolution signifies that need to do it quickly when the time comes. So
But we agreed to 3 readings.
Correct.
And
if needed, if we need to get it in for some reason, but I think Mark and I got it to you in plenty of time, so we don't have to rush.
And the terms have not changed on this.
Other than
Thank you.
the
2.55% increase.
increase in cost, which is normal.
Yep.
Below normal.
Well, for that, yeah.
Okay, next I have ordinance 2025-07-05, an ordinance approving the contract with Security Technologies LLC and the Village of Roman Shores for a term of 3 years commencing August 1st, 2025 for conversion and monitoring services for village pump stations and fire alarm systems and declaring an emergency. It's in its first reading.
And that is an ordinance because that is a 3-year term instead with the proper language.
All right, do we, old business, we have Security Technologies. Of course, that is the ordinance we just read.
And then Jenny, from work session, Mark and I will have a first reading draft at our next meeting of the employee manual that we discussed in work session.
Very good. Hey, new business?
Chris, what was it that you just stated for what you'll get us or work with me on?
We're just gonna get the employee manual finalized
Gotcha.
for the first reading. Sorry, you're doing double duty.
Hey, any other new business?
I guess, I don't know what this should be, new business, or old business, I probably should have got up under old business. Where are we at with the Sobraco property? Anything happening at all with that?
I'll follow up with Mark on it. We've sent registered letters, I think.
Yeah, so everything
Came
was,
back.
was sent back to them, and then we also had them submitted to the RA for their maintenance plan.
So we'll, Gary, we'll get you, that's a good question. I have that in my
You know, that's funny you should mention it. When I drove by that today, I said, boy, we need to send them a tall grass letter.
That's not gonna help.
But who do we send it to?
Well, that's part of the problem because it's
It's still
It's-
part of the estate.
just sitting there.
Right.
So really, there's no
But
way
could we
to
not
tackle.
still send a letter to whatever address we have on file, and if it's not done, mow it, and then just tack that bill on
To whose taxes?
to, right, I don't
Tax it
know.
on the-
Property.
Can't we just mow it and make sure that our community looks decent?
If you want.
Well, once you do that, then, okay, do mine. I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah, I
You
guess
start-
it'd have to go on the taxes at some point.
Correct,
Right.
right. Well, and I'm okay with putting it on the taxes with the understanding that we may never ever see any of the money that's owed to us for anything with that property. Because I can't even imagine what the water bill is on that property at a
It's shut
minimum
off,
of,
isn't it?
yes, but you still get a minimum water bill of whatever the minimum is every month. Is
Right.
it $80-something every month? I'm not sure what the minimum is anymore, but that's going there every month.
Mark, we'll take a look at nuisance abatement options
Okay,
and get a proposal together in the next month or two.
sounds good.
Can we also, have we pulled the meter,
Pulled it?
taken it out?
The water
Why?
shut off.
The water shut off? We should make that account inactive. There's no. it
We'll
gets-
never collect it.
We're never gonna collect the money that's owed, okay, and it's just going on our AR, okay, and therefore we're looking at money that we're never gonna see, okay?
Where do you draw the line?
How about a person being dead?
No, I just mean if you're gonna pull that meter because of the reason, what other ones are you gonna do it to?
Do we have any others that are in, that are in the same situation? I mean, it is a relatively unique situation. Since I've been here, this is the only one that I've been experienced.
Well, and I was going to bring up, and maybe this is sort of related. I'm not sure I need addresses, but I'm interested to know how many, what the
Agreed.
the collection rate is and what's outstanding and what should we be paying attention to as a council fiduciarily? I mean, what's going on? I haven't seen anything for a long time.
I assume you're referring to water delinquencies, payments. et cetera.
Water, sewer, yeah.
Well, I will say that we should, by next meeting, be able to run a really good water usage analysis based upon bill to and purchase from. Okay, because we'll have a month under our belt, right, Mark?
Yes, for the village hall and the sewer plant, correct.
Okay, so then they would be added, so we'll be closer to our total usage number to see what percentage of that isn't getting billed. Okay, I will tell you that I requested from Mark, he gave me several months ago, just a general, usage and delinquency report, but does council get that anymore? We used to at one point in time,
I haven't seen it for
2 years.
a long time. Well, I think when we started to convert last July to the new Muni system, I think we had one then, and I don't think I've seen one since. Have you,
Yeah.
Jenny?
No,
So.
I can send you anything, just ask me.
I know, I'm just not even sure what I want to ask
Sure,
because
yeah.
I don't want to know if, Susie and Fred owe money. I
Mhm.
want to know what kind of money is owed and then
Right.
Well,
maybe.
how
learn
many,
to
how
break it
many
down.
delinquent accounts
No,
are,
it
there's
should be-
13 delinquent accounts, and this we don't need to know who they are.
Right,
Just account number 1 is delinquent and they owe this much money. Account number 2 is delinquent and they owe this much
Jenny,
money.
that's probably
Right.
what I think the council wants, and if it was a business we wanted it, is an aging report. Okay, 30, 60, 90 plus day aging. It's a regular report. It comes out, you don't have to see names on it.
but I do wanna know numbers of properties.
You get that on an aging report, yes.
Yeah,
You'll
say
see-
this-
Okay,
There's
okay.
so many that are 30
You'll
days
get, you know,
past
it
due,
will
so
say
many
like, you'll
60
end up being
days.
able to see that. And at least then we can look at the 60, 90, and 90-day plus columns, or even 90 only day plus column, and make an analysis, and then you might want to request
Additional information.
additional information, you know, that we can address potentially even in executive session.
You guys-
Would-
Does
You-
that 30, 60, 90 report include all
That's what it would be, yes. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Do you guys want that monthly? I'll just send it to you guys via email monthly.
No, I'd rather see it part of your administrator's monthly report, just as an attachment. It's part of what, it's a report that the administrator should give to us, in my opinion, unless the council feels differently.
Well, for a little while, I might like to see it and see what's happening. Like, are we gaining any ground?
So a time series maybe to start with?
Right, and then quarterly might make sense.
What I can tell you is our shut-offs have gotten really good. We're down to 1 to 3 a month. Where we're losing is our vacant lots. We are definitely losing in our vacant lots.
So Gary, you had mentioned, long-term property that's, and as far as maintenance items, are we sending letters and registered items
Well-
to other properties that are more than a year old that have some sort of violations as well?
Yes. Letters are being sent from zoning, but there's two that have, since I've been here, that have been really hammered on, which is one of the ones Gary mentioned. And then now with the maintenance portion, they've been submitted to the RRA because they track the maintenance portion now.
So the other one hasn't had follow-up from the village then?
It's an administrative review, I believe, is the status on the other one.
Thank you.
So we probably need to follow up with the association and make sure that they received it, and then what are they doing with it?
They've received it, but what impact do we have on the RA?
Well, then we'll ask Steven to check.
Excuse me?
If there have been, he said he sent some things to the RRA. I want to know, have they received them? And then have they taken action, or where does it stand? Or are they just filing it for future reference?
Currently, the RRA's policy, until they've implemented and voted on this new policy, their approach for this year, as it's been told to me, is to send out communications to them, okay, as more of a advanced warning for the balance of this year.
So I'm
That's a
asking,
whole-
did all of that process happen?
Yes, I've been told that letters have gone out. No, you can't, but you can quickly text. No, yes, with permission,
Marie,
she's
you
on
are
the
from the
board.
RRA, please
Yes.
come up forward and
She's
just
on the
give
board.
us an idea of where are we at on the letter process.
Yes,
Because I know that's something that you
and their
are,
position.
Okay, Marie Kaufman, 1075 Evening Star, and I am the director on the board. And I'm the liaison for the board to the BMC. And we have received some reports and we started reviewing what we have. We have not sent out letters yet because the process has not been finalized, but we have a meeting on the 24th. And 2 of the 3 people are also here at the meeting. So the 24th and 26th, we're going to be doing all the reports that we've received, and letters will start going out then.
all right, so
Okay,
we
so you
we
don't
could
have to reach out.
estimate that by the end of the month, letters will go out to violators that the village has ever had notified you of, and then maybe letters from any residents that have sent in complaints.
Yes, but I don't know that that the office has received any notices from the village yet. but I do know that one of the properties that we are expecting to receive from the village was received through another channel.
Mark,
So
could you
that's why I'm
follow up
saying-
then to resend that? And then also CC Marie as, a director from the, RRA, and the liaison, just to
Yeah,
make
it's
sure that they
actually-
have all of the complaints that the village had sent over. Could we resend
Just
them?
those two? Okay,
It's not actually an email, it's actually, going into
right,
the site through the RRA.
Okay.
And submitting it, but then you can just let me know if it's been done, and I'll see that on.
So you would like the village to actually use the RRA's site as opposed to bringing it to your attention?
Yes, that's the only way that they can do it.
But
So
so then
can-
what address will or what address would the village use, the village hall address? Because we have to, if you file that form, my understanding is you have to put your name, but you also have to put your address. So we would put the village of Rocky Shores as our name, and then 2500 as our address?
Yep. That'd be fine.
Okay,
They
So-
just have to have a place to go back to, or
Right, they
Contact to
just
go
have
back
to be able to, that information is strictly confidential, and it's not shared at all, it's only for office use. And it was recommended basically by our attorney, we have to have some indication, if we ever need it, where the report came from.
So listening to that, you know, we have these maintenance standards and so forth from the village. And then the HOA has standards as well. So I want to make sure that the village is doing whatever it needs to do. And then the HOA, you have your own policies of how you handle that. I'm putting myself in the position of somebody who may have a maintenance issue. That they're getting things from both organizations. Is there any sort of workflow or coordination between these two organizations on what's getting sent, how much is getting sent, and at what point things are getting sent?
Sally, I believe the village turned that all over to the RRA, and we are no longer sending out violations for property maintenance.
correct.
The only thing I think was the tall grass.
We are taking care of tall grass.
Okay, so, but we also have other things that the zoning inspector.
Well, zoning is separate than property maintenance.
right, and so it would be our own violation. And if they're also violating from the RRA, then, yeah, they do get 2 hits.
But I see one of the things that's developing. First of all, I recognize the RRA's attorney's position on wanting everything to go through the portal. Okay. However, we're a governmental organization. We should be sending out our communications officially under our letterhead or under our addresses directly to the entity that is responsible that we're communicating with. It should not go through their portal.
But you can also put attachments with that, anything that you want, any of your correspondence, any photographs.
It's putting a procedure on the village that is different than what would normally be expected us to do. It would be I'd expect any administrator we had to be communicating officially directly with the board or the village, on behalf of the village, not going through portals. Okay, I think I have a little more of a concern on that than I think the council has right now. But
Chief goes through a portal.
you go through a portal
The
to
county, when we submit to the county, the matrix portal for uploading criminal complaints and things like that, it's all done on his professional letterhead, his reporting, his.
and then you just upload your document into their portal. So you're not typing into a form on their portal. That's the difference. Okay? I agree with that. If they want to allow us to upload official documents onto the portal, I can appreciate that. But to type into a form and
It's
under-
1 page.
I understand your position, but we're two different entities. We have our own tracking methods too. Okay? You asked a question.
Was always what Mark uploads is in the document form as a letter. It's still a public record that's searchable.
Isn't a letter, it's a pure, it's a
No,
pure,
the document he uploads.
he isn't uploading, he's filling forms
He
in.
just said we are.
Okay, we're talking about a few violations and then I don't think we're going to be notifying any further after that.
No, and so Marie, Mrs. Kaufman, the two have not been sent to you from our zoning inspector?
I have the list of what I have, and, I do not believe so.
Okay,
but
I will
can
send
go
them
that
over.
with you.
I'll send, yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, and as Bear said, there are few instances of this, and there may be some way to work out a letter being received by the RA and then physically doing the entry into the form, if from a governmental standpoint, that's.
Well, and I think going forward, it's gonna be a mute issue because we will no longer be in the business of looking for maintenance violations as a governmental agency. That's not to say that any council member or anyone else, just like every other resident out here, can submit complaints of property maintenance violations. But I think we just need to get what we had over to you, and then I think we're out of the business.
Well, no, there's still overlapping, issues. For example, all the docks are controlled by state code, okay? RRA doesn't technically have the total
But isn't
authority,
that a zoning issue?
but it's
It
also.
is.
It is, but it's something that they're taking care of and we're identifying, okay, on a consistent basis, because it also has, the police chief has a certain responsibility in that part of it too. So there's a lot of these things as we go further into this. The maintenance, the building and maintenance committee, okay, has a very small subset right now, but there's also zoning and other things that we still deal with, but they're also going to be after too, okay? And
So
you
that's Sally's question. She was asking, is a homeowner going to get hit from both sides? And the answer is yes.
It
Yes.
potentially could be, yes, depending on what it is, correct.
And all I'm saying is that we should continue with our policies the way we implement them through our normal forms and processes. But if we're communicating with the association, that should be directed to them. And if they would like to enter it into their portal, I've already had this conversation. I felt that it was important that they have that option.
And note too that, and this is our second meeting of having actual conditions to review and take action on. And the whole process is still fluid. It's still a work in process. We don't have every step down the way we're gonna do it, how we're getting information from the village, where it's gonna go, how it's gonna go in, what the letter's gonna look like going out. And that's why we're using this year to smooth out that process so that by the beginning of next year, it will be in place and it will be finalized and everybody will be happy and know what's going on. Right now, we distributed that maintenance document to the residents and so that they know,
Did anyone comment on it?
yes, I've gotten a lot of comments on it and mostly positive.
Good.
People really want to see certain things be cleaned up. The biggest thing is people don't want to be ratting on their neighbors.
And I get that, but my understanding is it is confidential.
It is confidential.
So the neighbor will never know who reported them. However, if you're reporting the noisy wind chime, you're the only person that can hear the noisy wind chime. I think somebody doesn't have to be a detective to figure out who told them.
Right, if it's from your kitchen window that you can see it, yeah. And I say never, but that's where the attorney came into play, that if this ever got to a point where it would be a court case or something, then that may not be confidential.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. All right, next we have the bills for review. Everybody look at the bills. If you have any questions, Don't know if we can answer them or not, but maybe.
Was anything for new business? I have all that under old.
Just the request to do it, the,
Aging report.
Aging
and
report,
the POS.
point of sale.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, bills,
I was going to ask, there's this Visa bill, it looks like, if I understand it correctly, that we had a battery junction and duty belt and an oil change and brakes. So we're not listing what vehicle was cared for? Is someone tracking those things individually by unit? I know the chief does on his.
I was reading that the Visa bill was 160 and the other ones were paid separately.
correct.
It is,
So my question is, the Visa bill, what's $160 on the Visa bill?
Right, right. So, yeah, and I wasn't reading it the same way. I was thinking that these three items were being charged to certain things.
I would encourage my fellow council members, with that sort of detail to go to our fiscal officer and ask them directly. She
Well,
can
she's
pull
not
the-
here.
She can pull the invoice, the
Yeah.
purchase order, and.
I know in
she
the
has
past
that
she's been
data.
here and been able to hand me so I can see that, but
You guys
I'd
didn't
like
have
to
the
see it.
bills to sign tonight either, did you? No. Okay. So we don't have the bill for this
Yeah.
year to sign. We can,
we pay them already. This isn't-
they're already been paid
It's been
anyway.
paid. Yes, you don't have to vote on it.
Right. The bills, we're gonna approve the bills to be paid. But we can get that
Pending
in.
questions.
Exactly. Executive session,
I move we go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion or compensation of a public employee or official. And, we need the mayor to stay with us and the solicitor.
do I have a second?
second,
Any discussion? We're voting to go into executive session.
All right. That's in, out. Sally Fell,
Yes.
Steve Kaufman,
Yes.
Holly Marinick,
Yes.
and Gary Mayne.
yes.
Wonderful. We're gonna go into
Okay,
an
second.
executive session. I'll come
Thank you.
home before I go back in.
I won't.
For the executive session, could you just let me know who in and out it?
Yes.
All right, does
Thank you.
anybody need a break before we start? Mark will let you know when
All right.
He's left his paper here, we'll fill in the blank.
we need to go, take care of the computer.
Yep.
Thank you.
You want your mic